between colonization and as you say, the later rubber boom, where people are going in for rubber and enslaving indigenous people to tap rubber, is completely reorganizes so many things
Mm, mm.
in
Yep.
Amazonia, doesn't it? And we don't always know what things looked like before those times, always. Although sometimes we
No,
do.
absolutely not. And that's
Yeah.
something that I've more and more been aware of. And this is that, for example, I've recorded a lot of traditional stories. This was a big part of my first field trip. And just this also answers your previous question. A lot of what I did on the first trip was just recording people talking.
Mm,
And what people generally wanted to do was, oh, let's get the elders, let's record traditional stories and songs. So that's what I have a lot of recordings of, and it's great for me. I can use that and look at the grammar, and it's also great for the people to have this record of these elders who a number of whom have now passed, of course. Well, I think
lovely.
it was 20 years ago that I did my first trip, so it's been a time.
Yeah.
So in these traditional stories, in this sort of oral tradition, of course, a lot of this conflict has just been integrated into the tradition, of course. So we can be here recording these stories, looking at these stories, going, this reflects this ancient tradition. These people have lived here for many, many generations. It's not entirely clear even how long they've been in that particular area. But once we start to look with the knowledge that there has been this enormous social upheaval, we start to see signs of that, and we start to see this coming up in the stories, these sort of metaphors for that kind of colonial violence that people have undergone. And we also start to see in the linguistic situation where there's a lot of isolate languages, languages that seem to be unrelated to any other language. Actually, maybe these are refugee populations originally. And of course, people's oral tradition aren't generally going to explicitly say, we're a refugee population who who have come from somewhere else and developed this culture. They're saying this culture has always been here. This is how
Hmm.
it's always been. That's how traditions generally work.
Right.
But the more we look, the more we can see that there must have been an enormous upheaval.